What's up, guys? I'm Nobody Special, and it is a very bad time to be in the advertising business. Snapchat just reported earnings on Friday. It was a very disappointing quarter, and the stock got absolutely destroyed in trading on Friday. With Facebook, Google, and Twitter all scheduled to report earnings this week coming up, it could be a rough week for tech stocks. You ready? Hit it. Thank you for joining me. I'm Jack Gamble, and I'm Nobody Special. And I was talking to my wife the other day, and she deals a lot with printing vendors and advertising vendors because in her job, she makes a lot of brochures, and she creates a lot of pamphlets and promotional items. And she's been getting bombarded with emails recently by all of these vendors. And these vendors have been saying in their emails that the supply chain is tough and that there's delays all over the place, but that they can still get things made and they can still meet demand and that they're ready, willing, and able to provide these pamphlets and these promotional items. And it made me think, if their business is so good and if they're really struggling to meet demand, why are they sending these emails out? And this is not just one or two vendors. She's getting these emails from a lot of different vendors that she's done business with over the years. And that tells me that it's a tough time to be in the advertising business. And that all made sense when I saw the Snapchat earnings this week. Now, guys, before we get too far into this, two things. First, don't forget, hit that big, beautiful thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell. It really helps me out, and it helps me to keep this channel growing, and I'd be forever in your debt. And number two, I want to send a shout out to the Economic Ninja and a welcome to all the new subscribers who came over from that channel. Ninja, thank you very much for the opportunity to come on your channel yesterday. It was a lot of fun. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And to all you new folks, thank you very much for joining us here, and I hope to make it worth your time. Now, with that, let's shrink my big, fat melon of a head and get into some of the news. Snap stock plunges as digital advertising ecosystem takes a hit from Apple and supply chain issues. All right, so we've got two issues going on here. Apple and supply chain issues. Now, if you don't know, Apple made a big change to its terms of service, and basically, it has to do with privacy. Apple has always been very big on privacy. Well, Google, Facebook, Twitter, right? All these targeting companies, not so big on privacy, are they? We've all had that occasion where we're having a conversation and then 10 minutes later, Facebook shows you an ad for what you were just talking about. And we all felt just a little dirty, just a little violated when that happened, right? And we're like, they're listening, aren't they? Well, Apple has had a big update to its terms of service recently, and it's blocking a lot of that invasive snooping that the big tech companies are famous for. And remember, the big tech companies, you are the product. They're selling you. They listen to you, and they analyze your behavior online to sell targeted ads aimed at you. And Apple has made that more difficult for these advertisers. So that's the first thing that has hit Snapchat. And that's also going to hit Google or Alphabet. That's also going to hit Twitter. That's also going to hit Facebook. But the other thing is the supply chain issues. And I want to just read a little bit from here. Snap stock plunged on Friday. Here, let's zoom in a little bit, make Mrs. Special happy. Snap stock plunged on Friday as its September quarter revenue miss and guidance also drove down shares in Facebook, Twitter, Alphabet, Pinterest, Trade Desk, and others in the digital advertising ecosystem. And I want to scroll down a little bit here. And I want to read in particular from this paragraph here. Facebook, which reports earnings on October 25th, has been the most critical of changes in Apple's privacy policies. They were carried out in an upgrade to iOS software earlier this year. In addition to Apple's privacy changes, global supply chain issues are now expected to impact digital advertisers such as Snap stock in the December quarter and beyond. That's because online retailers will advertise less if they cannot meet holiday season demand due to product shortages. Okay, so that's the big thing. And right, on the surface, that makes sense, right? If the supply chain is broken down, if all of your product is stuck on a ship waiting to unload outside Los Angeles, then why are you going to pay to advertise that product right now? You can't fill any orders. And that's what Snap is saying, and that's what people are worried about with these tech companies. And really, this could hit a lot of retailers this December. And this could particularly hit the advertisers. Because if you can't get your inventory in, then you can't sell it, so why bother to advertise it? And that's really hurting the advertisers. And that's why my wife is getting bombarded with these emails from all of her advertising vendors who are assuring her that they are still there and ready to do business. Why? Because their business is falling off a cliff and they're having to step up their marketing efforts to get her to increase her marketing spend. And if you look a little bit, the carnage in the stock of these tech companies was really, really tough on Friday. Look at this Snap stock down 26.5% in one day. I mean, Snap was just absolutely brutalized on this news. And it wasn't just Snap. Here we have Facebook down 5% on Friday. Alphabet down almost 3%. Twitter down 4.8%. All right, so one after another, all of these big tech stocks that basically the social media companies. And what is a social media company? It's an advertiser, okay? If you use social media, you are the product, right? If you're watching my video right now, you are the product, right? YouTube is advertising to you. They're selling your attention and your time, and advertisers pay to access you, right? So this supply chain crunch and the fact that people can't get their stuff from the factory to their store to be able to sell it means they're dialing back their advertising spend. So we could have a very, very tough week ahead for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 because these big high-flying social media names make up a big portion of that. Now, let me just preface a couple of things here. Number one, I am not a financial advisor at all, okay? Don't touch a trade based on what you hear from me. Do your own research, your own DD, and arrive at a decision that's right for you based on your unique situation. Okay? Now that I have CY'd my A, I want to be clear here. I am not suggesting that you go out and short social media companies right now. By no means. All right? These companies have basically, for the last, 15 years, gone up and to the right nonstop. All right? And shorting a company like that is like standing in front of a steaming locomotive and betting your life that it's going to stop. You might be right, but if you're wrong big. So I'm not advocating that you go out and short these big tech stocks, okay? I mean, you should never touch a trade based on what you hear from me anyway. So that's one. Number two, I want to preface the following segment by saying I am still in cash raising mode here, okay? I'm not really looking to buy stocks right now. I am looking to take profits where I can, raise cash elsewhere, because I believe with the things going on in China right now and with, I think there's going to be a stock market overreaction to this inflation story. I think a lot of stocks are going to go on sale soon. So I am in cash raising mode right now, okay? So I just want to preface this following segment by saying, number one, I don't recommend you go out and short these tech stocks. And number two, I am not buying stocks right now. But if you are interested in a thesis or a possible way you might invest this trend. Again, I just throw these out there. I'm not recommending you do this. But here is one interesting story, is Etsy. And this is another topic that came up in my conversation with my wife the other day. We're going to move me out of the way. Here, let's put me down here. I found Etsy to be an interesting story because Etsy's business model is a lot of these micro businesses or small businesses, right? People with side gigs at home, people who spent a lot of time at home in the pandemic and decided they were going to start a side business. Now, these are not people who are dependent on massive shipments coming in from China, right? These are people who source their own materials and create their own product at home. So my theory is that a company like Etsy is not going to struggle with the supply chain where some other retailers, like your big box stores, are really going to struggle, or your Amazon might struggle. I think Etsy could be in a position to benefit from this, as a lot of people may take some of their holiday spend where they're seeing frustration at the big box retailers. It might drive them to some of these alternate retailers like Etsy. And, real quick, just looking at Etsy technically here, we've recently had a golden cross with the 50-day moving above the 200-day. That is a very bullish signal. Now, where we're at right now, we are pushing this all-time high here. You notice, we're trading around 241. That's pretty close to its all-time high, around 244. So this could go one of two ways. This could be a double top reversal pattern about to form, right? We could fail to break above this 245-day line, which would be a very bearish signal, which would mean this thing is about to go down. Or what we could do is we could break out above this, which would mean all clear up and to the right. This thing has room to run. All right. Now, again, I just want to preface by saying I am not doing this trade and I'm not advertising this trade. I just throw ideas at you here. Okay. But if I were interested in buying Etsy directly, what I would do is, number one, I would wait for it to break above this all-time high around 245, 246. And then I would wait to see it come back down, challenge that level before moving higher again. All right, so I want to see a break above 245. I want to see a successful retest and then a move back up. That's what I would do before I got into one like this. But again, I am in cash raising mode. This is not a trade that I'm advertising. And just so you don't think I'm crazy, I want to show you this story talking about 3 top retail stocks set to beat the holiday supply chain crunch. Now, this one is at Motley Fool, which is certainly not my favorite of the financial media outlets, but it's a good one. But number 2 on this list just happens to be Etsy. Reading off of this a little bit here, zoom in for Mrs. Special, make her happy. Etsy's business model could make it a winner through the holiday season of supply chain challenges. Here's why. Etsy doesn't depend on fulfillment centers and huge shipments from abroad to sell goods. Instead, the online platform connects independent sellers of handmade items with buyers. In fact, around this time last year, CEO Josh Silverman said this in an earnings call. Our sellers, our businesses largely have one working from their home, and they're not as constrained in terms of having a supply chain dependent on a few factories or having everything shipped through 1 or 2 fulfillment centers. The rest of the article goes on to discuss some trends in Etsy's buyers being return shoppers and things like that. But in a nutshell, long story short here, tough times ahead for advertisers, not just print advertisers, but the social media companies in particular, and Snap is an early indicator of that. So we could have a really rough week for Facebook, Google, and Twitter. Again, not advertising you go out and bet against those companies because, man, a lot of people have lost their shirt betting against those companies in the not too distant past, okay? But one possible way to capitalize on this trend of the supply chain hurting Christmas sales in some of the bigger box retailers would be a call like Etsy. And again, I'm not doing that trade. It's just an idea. I am still in cash raising mode, but that's one to keep an eye on. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this video. Again, welcome to the new subscribers. I hope you guys enjoy this channel. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell. It really helps me out. Until next time, live small and dream big.